So negation is not necessarily something which doesn't exist, but is something which is germinative, but dormant somewhere in the silence of nature. So, all these modern studies for linguistics, artificial intelligence, consciousness, the Sanskrit has to come also in these areas, and it is gradually coming. And I think we need translations of Sanskrit texts which can give new ideas to natural scientists. And they have to be interpretative. Just a translation doesn't give you what it actually means, a Sanskrit word means. For example, the translation of the Atharva Veda in the Harvard Oriental Series translates tapas as heat. Actually, tapas is not heat. So, sometimes these translations have to be done in a way. And I think it's a very important part of Sanskrit studies that translations be done in a creative manner so that they become relevant to our future and to our present. I don't want to say anything longer, but we are very grateful to all of our friends who have taken the trouble of coming over to India. It's a pleasant part of the year, and I think most of our friends didn't have any problems. We have tried to make you as comfortable as possible, put you in the highest mansions of this republic. It's an honor, not what I call, you have a historic interpretation. We have something which is dynamic interpretation. Not conditioned by time or space, but conditioned by our own being. In our country, we say, Hridayastham bhavaya devam. The divine is within you. So we don't just read a text and say the text says so and so, but we also think that what does the Hridaya, the heart or the soul says. So there's a different interpretation, and I think equally valid. The two can differ. This question was raised yesterday by Dr. Karan Singh Ji that you should accept Aurobindo as an Indologist. I think he is more a rishi than an Indologist. And all the great Vivekananda, a rishi, we give him the status of a rishi. We don't think that we should call him an Indologist. That would be bringing down the respect, the homage that we pay to him. So, lots of these questions are coming up, but I am very happy that Sanskrit studies have been continuing in Europe in spite of the Second World War, which was a turning point. Here I would like to, mention that as early as the early 19th century, Friedrich Schlegel deplored the European tradition of directly being associated around economics and the promotion of the civic good. I think something very important to understand. As early as that period, they understood that the classical values are somehow being put into the background. So to me, Sanskrit and Indian studies and Indo-European studies, the great cultures of Greek, the great Roman, Latin culture, the cultures of China, they have again to condition our lives. We see so much of violence around the world. There has to be a harmony. There has to be an acceptance of alterity. A very important part of alterity, the otherness, the other. The other is as important as me. We can have differences of opinion, but why fight over them? So the great idea of Mahatma Gandhi, of ahimsa, all these questions to us are interlinked. And the Western approach to Indology is something which gives substance, a historic substance to our present day perception. And once again, friend, a warm welcome. And a very happy, we hope to meet next year. Again, reconsider many things that have happened. And whatever the ideas have been put forth in this conference, maybe we find some new directions from them. Thank you.
For his very profound words of wisdom. And we are very lucky to have all of you over here. We as a token of our love and affection and respect for you, we would be requesting our Honorable President to present a shawl to the scholars over here who have participated in the...
You know, cotton technology is India's contribution to the world. Pliny writes in his work that Indians grow their dresses on trees, that he is referring to cotton. So for us, cotton was a very important part of giving respect to people who had devoted their lives to light and learning. So in that context, which goes back to very, very ancient time, maybe 3,000 years, 4,000 years, one doesn't know the depth of time. So the tradition continues. So we are going to welcome our friends with the presentation of a shawl.
We would start with Professor Satyavrat Shastri.
You have to speak. बैठिए आप नया नाम बोलिए.
Now I would call upon Professor Emeritus Heinrich Freiherr von Stietencron. I'm sorry if I have pronounced it wrong, sir. Now, Professor Korhan Kaya, Professor Irma Piovano, Italy. Professor Indugare Dhamma Ratana, Sri Lanka. Professor K.D. Tripathi, India. Dr. David Frawley, USA. Professor Narendra Kumar Wagle, Canada. Professor Marietta Stepan Jans, you know what I mean. I'm sorry if I have pronounced it wrong. Professor Marietta. Professor Xavier Ruiz Calderon, Spain. Professor Jaroslav Wacek, Czech Republic. Professor Ma Jiali, China. Professor Danuta Stasik, Poland. Professor Professor Anizur Zaman, Bangladesh. Professor Sasi Prabha Kumar. Professor Oscar Pujol, Brazil. Professor Kenneth Gregory Zesk, Denmark. Professor Wayan Adika, Indonesia. Professor Klaus Peter Zoller, Norway. Dr. Sasibala, India. Dr. Wang Bangui, China. Dr. Ramendra Pandey, India. Professor Sergio Maliton Carrasco, Chile. Professor Uma Maheswar Rao, India.
Thanks. I think we have finished. Yes.
Now, coming towards the end of the valedictory function, we say, Smartavyah vayamadarena bhavata yavat punassangama. Please keep us in your mind till we meet again. This has been a wonderful occasion for all of us. We will cherish the memory of your visit, which has been experience in itself for all of us. We are the fellow travelers, treading the path of creation and dissemination of knowledge. And there is infinite knowledge, jnanam anantam. This has now to be further explored and explored. Indology is an ongoing process. We will try to explore the past with a view to relating it to the present times. That is the most important part of our study of the past. This is one fundamental question that should always exercise our minds. The wisdom enshrined in our old texts has to be related to the present times. As it was mentioned, that there are texts on agriculture, on Ayurveda, on natural and physical sciences. Now, the knowledge contained in those texts have to be utilized for the benefit of the present generation. Unless there is a correlation between the two, our studies would remain simply lopsided and will not yield the kind of benefit that it should. In our old agricultural texts, there is reference to the agricultural needs, the soil, determining the type of soil, the crop rotation, the plant diseases, their cure and everything. There have been the big dams built, and there was the record of the bursting of one of these dams in the Rudradaman inscription, which is a very graphic description of it, how this brought about this destruction, and how this was, that dam was repaired. That also is something which can interest us. So how can we benefit from the ancient wisdom? We can bring it down to the present day, and then we will be able to make the people interested in Indological studies. That is the purpose of our study, the end result of it. How are we going to benefit from it? We are an agrarian society. We have the kind of problems now, we have had the problems since ages past. How have we been addressing those problems? And do those efforts in addressing the problems would help us in addressing the problems now? by utilizing the same means and methods? These are some of the questions we should exercise our minds. And I believe that when we meet next, whether we meet in China or whether we meet in India or any other country, or any other continent, we should be more focused on this aspect of Indology. And if we are able to do that, we would have more than achieved our purpose, our goal. We are very thankful to you, all our friends, brothers and sisters. We wish you well. We wish you long life of continued fruitful literary activity. We all hope and pray that Sambho Mananse Janatam, that our hearts unite, our minds work in unison for the benefit of humanity. I would now request our Honorable Director General of the ICCR, the dynamic personality who has recently taken over, to propose a vote of thanks. His name is Rajashekhara. So now we can very well realize that he symbolizes the name, the quality that the name signifies. He is the Shekhara of the Raja. So therefore, and one of our greatest the literary figures, the poets, the playwrights, and the rhetoricians. So, Shri, Honorable Shri C. Rajashekhara, I would request him to propose a vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Shastriji, for your very generous introduction. I hope at some point later in my life, I hope I'll come to deserve your generous esteem for me. Thank you very much. Honorable President, Professor Lokesh Chandraji, and very distinguished scholars from abroad, from India, and dear friends. Indeed, it is a great honor and a privilege to propose vote of thanks, because this is, as Honorable Rashtrapati ji has mentioned, the first ever Indology conference that we are hosting on such a scale. And I would like to begin by profusely thanking Honorable Rashtrapati ji, President of India, Shri Pranab Mukherjee, for, to begin with, conceiving the idea. It was his idea in May this year that we shall have this kind of a gathering, a conference, and for his personal attention, he has been very generous about guiding, about expending his energy, about his going to the detail, and also for his inaugural remarks, which are truly enlightening and literally leading from the front as a commander-in-chief. I would like to thank the Rashtrapati Bhavan, beginning with Madam Omita Paul, the Secretary to Rashtrapati ji. Here we have Gayatri Madam. Dear Gayatri, thank you very much for all your painstaking efforts through day and night for various meetings and the coordination that you have done to make this a successful conference. We're all very indebted, grateful to you. And Rashtrapati Bhavan has not only opened the doors but also hearts, so to say that so considerately and courteously host us to provide hospitality, sumptuous banquets and luncheon. The last one just now we have enjoyed. The ornate Darbar Hall has hosted the inaugural, and this wonderful West Hall, and the various tours that we have got